This just in! Breaking news! Our top story tonight. Due to excessive demand, many exchanges are no longer taking new customers. You know what they say though, good things come. I'm just kidding, you guys are fucked. Next up, a new Bitcoin fork called Bitcoin Private looks to incorporate elements of ZClassic in a new edition. I know what you're thinking at home, we haven't had a Bitcoin fork that mattered in literally weeks. Also tonight, Venezuelan president has ordered a new cryptocurrency that is tied to the nation's oil reserves. Finally, oil and cryptocurrency. I don't know if anyone wanted that. And finally tonight, total market cap of cryptocurrency has surpassed $800 billion, making it bigger than tech giant Google. All of this and more tonight on Crypto News. If you like the latest news and everything happening in crypto, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you head out. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the markets today. We have a lot of the same in the markets today and over the past few days. Some smaller currencies exploding and then mostly growth through the top 10 or 20 coins. That does not include Bitcoin, however, who took a small loss today. But it does include the next few. Ripple getting some value going again, approaching its all-time high. Ethereum at its all-time high. Bitcoin Cash getting a little bit of a boost going here too. A few of these other ones, including IOTA, EOS, Monero, all getting some small gains. Now, we do see some of the bigger coins losing, including Tron, which hasn't booked a win in, God, must be 2 days now. It's the next 10 coins after the top 10 where we saw some real gains taking place, with Lisk leading the way. And this is apparently due to a rebranding coming up in February, but really hard to say exactly if that's why we're seeing some movement, as well as, of course, Icon, which has been crushing it for a really long time here. I never decided to buy any Icon, despite many people telling me that I should, and my friend Matt Glantz constantly tweeting about it.
I don't care.
As far as outside the top 20, we're seeing some huge gains in the top 100 from Dentacoin, ETHLend, which looks suspiciously like it might be a BitConnect ripoff, and Populous. So big gains across the board. In fact, if you're interested in learning more about Populous, we have an article from Coin Central in the description below. First up, let's talk about this upcoming ZClassic hard fork into Bitcoin Private. Now, there have been so many different Bitcoin forks. We obviously made a joke about that on an episode a few weeks ago, but there are some that are important and some that aren't, and usually you get a little taste of what it's going to be like before it happens. Before we talk about this fork, I do want to talk about what originally happened between Zcash and ZClassic. Now, both of these two coins were launched pretty much simultaneously, a very similar launch date. Zcash was the original coin, and then there was a hard fork to create ZClassic. Now, if you're new to crypto, you don't know what a hard fork is. It's essentially when one coin becomes two by creating two new separate chains that are different currencies. We saw many of these in Bitcoin. We saw Bitcoin Cash, we saw Bitcoin Super, we saw Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, and then of course all the other crazy ones as well. Zcash is known for being one of the biggest anonymous currencies, and they use a technology called ZK snarks in order to make transactions private. There were a few subtle differences between Zcash and ZClassic, but they're primarily the same thing with one important notable difference. ZClassic does not have 20% of the mining reward block money going to the founders, and Zcash does. So essentially for every Zcash that a miner earns, they have to send 20% or 20% of that goes to the founders in order to help promote Zcash and probably to some extent profit for them as well. For obvious reasons, this created a bit of a divide within the Zcash community. Now, essentially, private transactions are actually a necessary and demanded thing in the world of crypto. But the question is, should there be this founder's reward in place? Generally speaking, I would say no. I don't think it supports really a true ecosystem of the way that the currency should work. So for that reason, I like ZClassic more than I like Zcash, despite ZClassic having a much smaller market cap. Despite dominance by Zcash for the better part of their entire existence, ZClassic has seen a bit of a resurge lately into the top 100 coins listed by market cap. So it's got some good gains in terms of the price And this upcoming fork into Bitcoin Private is going to be a fork off of ZClassic. The way this fork is going down is not something that I've seen before. Maybe it's happened. I've not followed every fork in existence. But the way that it will work is anyone owning Bitcoin or ZClassic at the time of the fork will receive the new coin Bitcoin Private. According to the Bitcoin Private website, when the hard fork occurs, a snapshot of all existing ZCL and BTC holdings will occur. Anyone holding them in a wallet or support exchange will be credited with Bitcoin Private at a 1-to-1 ratio. In the interest of full disclosure, I recently bought some ZClassic because I like what they're trying to do. I don't believe in the founder's reward, and I think that when it comes to private transactions, that's an essential part of cryptocurrency for the protection of the people that are using the transactions. And I know there are going to be people that say, oh, why don't you want everyone to see what you bought or who you are? You hiding something? And it's not really about that as much as it is about protecting our own information. Companies and governments use that information for profit. And should you be able to protect yourself from it? Personally, I think yes. If you have a different opinion, let me know in the comments below. While we're on the topic of coins that I own or recommend, a lot of you guys ask me for recommendations of what to buy. All I want to say is that first off, I'm not a financial advisor, so obviously tread at your own risk there. But additionally, I don't really want this to become a channel where I just shill things that I'm buying to try and promote them. I'm fine with every now and then promoting things that I believe in and I think are good buys. But if you want me to just give you a new shitcoin every day, this is not going to be the place you're going to want to go. Next up, quick small story. I didn't put in the intro for you, but I just want to talk about it for a second. So we are seeing the New York Stock Exchange moving into some more Bitcoin ETFs. We're going to see some bull funds, including 1.25x leverage, 1.5x leverage, 2x leverage, and then some bear funds as well, offering both 1 and 2x leverage. So that means that you can get up to 2x of the result of what Bitcoin's actually doing. So Bitcoin goes up 100, you make 200, and vice versa. Now, I think that these things are all good. We want the most possible ways for traditional markets and traditional investors to find their way into Bitcoin and other various digital currencies. We want that to be on the table and be something that we promote and we are okay with. We have to be okay as a community with the fact there will be people trying to make money betting against Bitcoin. That's okay. That's all right. That's actually natural, and it helps markets become more efficient by people being on both sides. Now, will that have a good short-term effect? Hard to say. Really, you can't even say it won't. It's really just hard to say. But I think in the long run, having that accessibility will be a good thing for Bitcoin. Next up, this article from Cointelegraph on President Maduro from Venezuela issuing 100 million Petros. And essentially, this is an order to have a cryptocurrency backed by the Venezuelan oil supply. Now, if you're not too familiar with Venezuela, join the club. But there has been a lot of hyperinflation in the country, and the citizens are unhappy. In any country with a lot of inflation, the money that you earn, it might be worth substantially less in a day or two or a week. And so it causes real chaos for the people that live there. Generally speaking, in those types of countries, people look for other things that they can buy that will hold their value. Things like gold, things like Bitcoin. We've seen a rise of Bitcoin in a lot of these areas as well. So essentially, in those troubled regions, the government's currency becomes a bit of an issue because they can't really, use it as a way for people to transact because of the inflation. So one of the solutions here is, and in fact, this is a new solution, is to tie a cryptocurrency to an item of value. The only real similar thing I can think of in crypto that's like this is USDT, which is issued by Bitfinex, where one USDT will equal $1. So if you are holding on to all your USDT and waiting for that bitch to moon, I've got some bad news for you. Very hard to predict the effect this will have, but I can say I think it's a good thing for the Venezuelan people to have that stability and to actually have a currency that can hold its value or possibly even increase in value if it starts to get traded internationally. As of last night, the total market cap of cryptocurrency has hit $800 billion. Now, there's a lot at play here, and it's important to know that the true value is not going to be the same as his market cap because, If you buy or sell small quantities, it can drastically shift the market, particularly when there's low volume. Additionally, it's not exactly clear how much of the currencies are in circulation. There's all kinds of issues with determining an exact number. But let's just say, for the simplicity of this argument, that total amount of coins times their value equals a number, and that has reached 800 billion. It's easy to get caught up in just thinking about what's next, thinking about where can we go, what's going to happen next, what's going to grow. We're hitting $1 trillion, we're hitting $2 trillion. But I just want for one moment to take a step back and imagine a simpler time, a time where Bitcoin was only $1,000.
I will remember you.
It's so long ago.
Will you remember me?
Well, no cash, no credit card, no problem. Maybe you've heard about the digital currency called Bitcoin.
It was a different time. A simpler time. A poorer time.
I will remember you.
Wait, that was only a year ago. Okay, moving on. Over that stretch, Bitcoin has been number one the entire time. Now, of course, if you include Ripple's locked up reserves, then their market cap would be higher, but it's a bit of a sketchy situation with that because those aren't in circulation, and if they were, the price would be drastically reduced. So I'm going to go ahead and call Bitcoin king. It's been king, and it's going to continue to be king for some time. But this could be the year. I honestly think that there could come a day where something else beats out Bitcoin. Bitcoin's almost 10 years old, and even though there have been many soft forks to help develop the software, it does struggle from a lot of scaling issues, and the tech is a lot older than some of these new projects. The problem, I think, for the other coins is they just don't have that penetration into the social market that people have heard about. So few people have heard about these other smaller coins. Like you look at even IOTA. How many normal people in the world know about IOTA? Not very many. I don't know where we're headed, but I'm excited for it, and I hope you guys will be here for it too. Finally tonight, our top story. Exchanges have been getting swamped. Many of them have had to outright stop taking new customers. Two of the most popular exchanges, Binance and Bittrex, have had to outright deny anyone a new account. And this has actually resulted in a secondary market emerging where people are buying and selling their accounts, and they've had to tell people to not do that. According to this article from Cointelegraph, exponential growth cryptocurrency exchanges are adding over 100,000 users a day. One of the problems has been, one of the reasons it's been so hard to get money on exchange and make sure you can buy what you want to buy, is that we've never seen this type of demand before. This is brand spanking new for our industry. And so these companies, they've not actually had a chance to really implement what's needed to be implemented to handle this type of volume, to handle this amount of people showing up at the door. There are millions of people going to these sites, and they have to find a way to try and make everyone happy and do it correctly while dealing with large amounts of money. It's a very tough job to run an exchange, and so it does make sense to me that there have been some mistakes made and that sometimes they have to just simply say, look guys, we can't take more customers. If you're offering something for sale and you're not able to come through on your end of the bargain, then you simply have to just say no or not get involved with it in the first place. People want to give these exchanges money and the exchanges want to take them. So I'm sure these will be back up soon. If you're one of the people suffering from this, I'm sorry. I know it's frustrating sitting there watching the trades happen that you want to be in on, but just take it easy. It's not going anywhere. There are still other exchanges that you can use. And these companies want you there. They just simply can't do it correctly. And I think we would all prefer that they wait and do it right than rushing it and having some kind of fiasco. That's going to go ahead and do it for me. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button and join the team.